Once upon a time, in a quiet village surrounded by rolling hills and blossoming meadows, there lived an old man named Mr. Thomas. Mr. Thomas was known far and wide for his love of gardening. His small cottage was surrounded by a vibrant garden bursting with colorful flowers, fragrant herbs, and lush green vegetables. Every morning, as the sun peeked over the horizon, Mr. Thomas would step into his garden with a watering can in hand, and a wide-brimmed hat shading his face. He would tenderly tend to each plant, nurturing them with care and affection. Mr. Thomas had a special bond with his garden. He knew each plant by name and understood their needs, how much sunlight they craved, how often they needed watering, and which ones needed a little extra encouragement to bloom. Throughout the day, neighbors would often pass by Mr. Thomas's garden and marvel at its beauty. Some would stop to chat, asking for gardening tips or admiring the vibrant array of flowers that seemed to dance in the gentle breeze. But Mr. Thomas's love for gardening went beyond just growing plants. It brought him peace and joy, a sense of purpose that filled his days with meaning. He found solace in the quiet moments spent among the blooms, where he could reflect on life's simple pleasures and the beauty of nature. One spring day, a young girl named Emily moved into the cottage next door to Mr. Thomas. Emily was fascinated by gardening but didn't know where to start. Seeing her enthusiasm, Mr. Thomas offered to teach her everything he knew about tending to plants and nurturing a garden. Emily eagerly accepted Mr. Thomas's offer and soon became his gardening apprentice. Together, they planted seeds, dug up weeds, and watched in amazement as tiny sprouts grew into flourishing plants under Mr. Thomas's guidance. As they worked side by side, Mr. Thomas shared stories of his own experiences with gardening. The joy of seeing a seedling poke through the soil, the satisfaction of harvesting fresh vegetables for a hearty meal, and the resilience of plants that weathered storms and bloomed again. Through their shared love of gardening, Mr. Thomas and Emily forged a deep bond of friendship. They spent hours discussing different types of flowers, experimenting with new planting techniques, and marveling at the wonders of nature unfolding before their eyes. Years passed, and Mr. Thomas grew older, his hair turning silver and his steps slowing. But his passion for gardening never waned. Emily, now a skilled gardener herself, continued to visit Mr. Thomas's garden, where they would sit together among the flowers and reminisce about their shared gardening adventures. Emily, now a steward of Mr. Thomas's legacy, took over his cottage and garden. She lovingly tended to the plants, carrying on the traditions and lessons Mr. Thomas had taught her. And as she worked, she felt Mr. Thomas's spirit among the blooms, a reminder of the enduring power of love, passion, and the simple joys found in a garden.